simulators and emulators have a lot of similarities, but they have some key differences that are really important to point out. So to draw a high-level Venn diagram between simulators and emulators, we can look at the center first, and we can see that these are both software-based design tools. They both approximate the behavior of a physical system, and they both run on a compute platform. Now, the differences, starting from top to bottom, are that simulators operate in virtual time versus emulators, which operate in real time. This means that simulators have their own model of time tracking within their simulation framework, whereas emulators don't track time according to their own model. They track time using the operating system's clock. That is a real-world timekeeping system, which allows emulators to operate in real time. Second, simulators don't have external interfaces to the outside world. A user would submit a query. That query would be processed internally within the simulation, and data would be output. While that simulation runs, it does not need to connect to any outside system. On the other hand, emulators, by definition, are attempting to replicate the behavior of an interface. That interface connects with some application in the outside world. This could be an external device or an external piece of software, but either way, there is an external system that is not contained by the emulator that the emulator must interface with. And as sort of a second point to this interface, we have stateless versus stateful operation. So a simulator operates in a stateless manner, where in between different queries to the simulator tool, we don't need to persist the information from previous runs. Each run of the simulator tool should be independent from all other runs. That's what we mean by stateless operation. On the other hand, since an emulator interface, since an emulator replicates the interface to a real-world device, as we query the emulator through the interface, we might change its internal state, which can then in turn change its behavior. This allows emulator devices or emulated devices to be interactive. However, doing so requires them to maintain state. So emulators are stateful, whereas simulators are stateless.